Hi everyone, it's Autumn here. I just had just a couple of things here. For one, I've had a bit of an epiphany um, over the last few months. I had a chance to take a look at some things. One of the things that you may have heard by now, um, we've heard a lot of talk and a lot of promotion and we've had a lot of rallying for this specific idea or a piece of legislation, if I might say. But you all know it as the Green Deal. Well, today I am here to basically, I found another agenda that's very consistent with the goals of the Green Deal. And that particular agenda would be the UN's Agenda 2030. Now, that particular document, the UN Agenda 2030, it basically deals with social, economic, and environmental domains, and it's the core of the document. Also, there are other agendas that surround that document, like the Migration Compact. The Migration Compact was a document that the UN proposed, and the document was to be signed, that needed to be signed by, I think, December of 2018. And thankfully, that President Donald J. Trump did not sign this document. This document basically it promotes what they say. They want safe, regular migration. And basically, it also says that, those countries that are participating, that basically your people are not, your citizens they basically don't resist after this document is signed, or they're subject to the social political torture and propaganda that we're seeing here in the States. Well, and of course, there again, that kind of open border idea is basically consistent with the Democrats and their lack of action that they've taken to do anything about the crisis on the U.S. southern border. So let me go back to Ocasio-Cortez. The other thing is she talks about, she does all this time frame. Well, we've only got 10 to 12 years or the earth's going to implode and there won't be anything. We've got to save the planet. There's climate change. We've got to fight climate change and cleaner water and cleaner air and no cows and no cars and no planes. So basically, there again, many people think that they actually think, the misinformed think that that's what it's all about. It's not. It's actually one of the UN agenda's sustainability schemes. That's what it's more about. Power. The time frame is basically, well, it's almost 2020, so 2030. There's your time frame right there. We've got, in their minds, in the Democrats' mind, they've got that much time to move the U.S. in alignment with this UN Agenda 2030, which is basically going to move everyone closer to a one world government, a one world one world social idea, a one world economic structure, and where it will affect trade, free trade. And to that end, we have a document on the docket right now, so to speak, and that's called the USMCA, which is, there's things about the document that look promising, but there's also language in that document in which globalists that are looking forward to infiltrating and slicing American sovereignty off, they're looking for opportunities to bring the U.S. in alignment with the UN. So there again, the globalists have ways of manipulating our trade agreements, as well as the Democrats they're manipulating all the time. So I just think that, there's a lot more here going on than just clean air, clean water, save the planet. It's not, you can't have, you would have to have, more information to know that there's more to the Green Deal than us just, signing over our sovereignties, our human rights, our capitalism, our free trade, our, the opportunities that we have, our natural rights that are endowed by our Creator. According to the UN, owning a gun is a human rights violation. Well, our Constitution makes provision as a Second Amendment right that you have the right to bear arms. You have the right to defend yourself. Well, that's certainly against the UN's idea. Okay? So that's one example. And also the UN says, okay, well, you might have human rights, but if we feel like we need to, you have rights, but they're under the rights that you have are under at our discretion. If we need to intervene, then we will intervene. Well, the Constitution does not impede on human rights and natural rights that we are endowed by the Creator, because the Constitution supports that God gave us these rights. These are natural rights. These are human rights, and they cannot be violated, or they cannot be impeded or impugned by the government. So there again, those are very sovereign and individual and independent issues that we would face under something like a UN 2030 agenda, or something that's at risk with a Green Deal that AOC likes to spin. So yeah, that's generally some of the myth that I was able to support. I was able to debunk some of the myth, most of the myth, and I still think that the Democrats are very much anti-American, and they would like to see this country moved into a socialist economy, and less control, less independence, less freedom, less American that we can be. So, and then also, of course, if you look at history, we've had enough deals from the Democrat Party. If you look back at 1933, we had the New Deal, FDR's New Deal. Well, of course, that brought about things, but it also brought about some things and weakness in our currency. We have a tremendous debt that we're in. So those are the kinds of things, whenever there's a deal, history shows that every time there's a deal, it almost seems to be something almost stolen. Something's lost. There's something huge at risk every time there's a deal. So I would encourage everyone to take a look at everything. Call your Congress. Words do matter is the general message. So read everything and take a second look at everything. So thank you again. And if you like what you've heard or what you see, or if you're interested in staying up to date, you can hit subscribe, and you can also hit the bell for notifications.